Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of All Consuming Podcast. This one is our 2024 awards episode.
It's almost like the Dundies for All Consuming Podcast.
Yeah, so we're not doing my top 5 versus Tyler's top 5 like last year, which ended up just being like my 4 was his 3, his number 1 was my number 2.
Yes.
Yeah. So this year we chose some categories and we picked our favorite bands or favorite albums in those categories. And it was a lot of fun, and so we had to team up and actually agree on the winners. Yeah. So we actually spent a lot more time prepping this one rather than just arguing on an episode and saying, I'm right, you're wrong. But so here we are.
And what do these awards mean? Nothing, just that Gary and Tyler decided these are worthy awards to give.
Dude, if we were, I was going to say legitimate. If we were legitimate, we should get these bands like little trophies, with their category name on it, and mail it to them.
Well, we're at least going to make trophies. Wait, you're going to make trophies for at least a graphic that we're going to post.
You think so?
I don't know. I also thought maybe we should be all dressed fancy, have a tie and a suit,
a podium, like go to your local school and record from the gymnasium on a podium.
Yeah. No, I'm excited for this episode because it was kind of just a random, unique idea we had,
a month or two ago,
and it feels different, So I'm excited to do this. I think we get to recognize different bands in different ways this way, and so hopefully people like it, and maybe we can start this as a tradition.
Yeah. So with that, let's jump in. We got 8 categories, I think.
Yeah.
And so the first one we're going to jump into is Best Live Performance.
And, okay, this year, 2024, didn't see, personally, me, a ton, but I did live through your videos and lore of Furnace Fest. Right? So I think the Furnace Fest area, obviously, tons of bands are touring again. There's a lot of performances to pick from, for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, even looking online, seeing some of them that happened, and it's like, man, if I could have been there, that would have been crazy.
100%. So for us, All Consuming Podcast, the best live performance of 2024 goes to Norma Jean at Furnace Fest.
But why? What makes it the best?
Well, I think you are qualified to tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, if you listen to our Furnace Fest episode, if you guys haven't listened to it, you can relive the moment with me and 3 other guys that were on there. And as we told Tyler how awesome it was seeing Josh Scoggin show up on the stage, and I don't know, it's probably something that, we'll say it'll never happen again. We also were told it would never happen, but it'll never happen again until it does. But that was such a cool thing. To see. There's other cool things that happened this year. Dallas Taylor showing up for
sure
for Under Oath, but
on a similar vein, right?
Yeah,
an old song that was popular. But I think you said it best in our episode. You said it felt like this was a moment in our music history, right? This was a moment to remember, and so absolutely deserving. Norma Jean at Furnace Fest, best performance of 2024.
Yep, mind blowing. So the next category is Best Music Video.
And then my first thought with this category, which is awesome, is there are music videos, aren't there?
Yeah, and so Tyler and I, we don't watch a lot of music videos, and it's usually when a song is so good, and then when someone's like, hey, they made a music video, you're like, oh, I should go check out that song. There are other people who their sole I don't know, their main input of new music is music videos.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a lot of content creators and Instagram people will say hey, if you have a band, you need to be making a music video because it gives a visual presentation to your music.
Sure.
So there's a big push to have music videos, but I don't know. I'm not the best at looking at every single music video. So what we did is we kind of looked at some of the singles that came out and we're like, oh, look at this music video. What do you think of this one? What do you think of this one? And so we picked one based on uniqueness.
Right, and I think that's a big piece. Back in the day, I truthfully to this day, I can still remember the first time I saw Composure by August Burns Red, their music video. right? Like music videos were huge, you know. But this day and age, maybe not as much with the streaming and all that stuff. To us. But this music video specifically, Gary showed me, and it's so creative. And so we had to pick it. Like, it's creative, it's different, it's terrifying.
It even has a warning on the front.
It has a warning. So for the 2024 Best Music Video, it goes to A Secret Ending, The Sins of Manasseh.
Yeah, the video is like, you'll remember it. If you ever watch it.
If you've seen it, you'll remember
just like by starting the song, I'm like, oh man, I can remember everything about it.
Yeah.
It's like stop motion, but it's not claymation. Or it is. I have no idea. I have no idea how it was done. But it's like, it's super fast paced and stop motion-y. And it's kind of creepy. Like, Manasseh's like this evil king. So, and the cool part about the song is lyrically, it's straight from the Bible. Like,
100%.
Super cool. But, you know, it's like this evil king who does all these evil things, and it, like, shows the evil things he did, right? It's so
brutal.
He's got, like, these, like, white eyes, and, like, he's got a knife, and he stabs people, and, like, burns a baby, and, like, there's just... It's you know, explicit video. So it is kind of creepy. I wouldn't just go playing in front of everyone at church and shout, you guys want to see a Christian music video? Put it up on the big projector or something, you know.
But it's unique. It's definitely like you watch it, and to me, like, it makes the song even better, right?
Yeah.
Which is what music videos are supposed to do, like that visual representation, like you said. And it's just a unique way of doing it. It's not just a band playing with rain falling down, you know, or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of music videos that are like, just, I feel like there's like every 5 years, there's kind of like a theme or a format that all the bands follow. And so the ones that you like, I can remember this song almost perfectly because of the music video. Yeah. Like, if you name other songs on that EP, I'd be like, I think I know it.
Right.
I don't know. But someone's like, The Sins of Manasseh, and I'm just like, I see this dude being creepy and walking all weird.
Yeah.
You know, like, so... Yeah, there's something to that, you know. A good, unique music video can really stick a song in people's heads.
Right, and so props to the band,
yeah,
to people that were in the production of the video, whoever it was. Super awesome, enjoyable, and memorable. So
yeah, for sure.
Congrats.
The next category is a fun one. Best New Artist. And this took some talking. It took some figuring out of what it means to be the best new artist.
Well, what is a new artist also? That is like kind of this idea. You've never released anything before, or never released a full album before, or EP before.
Yeah, that's what I say. Like, the only thing they have out is one album or singles leading up to an album.
Yeah.
You know?
And so with the format of what our podcast is, with like core values, I feel like we cover these.
Yeah.
Right? We cover these bands a lot. We used to just like go back and like talk about albums that we loved or big albums that were released. Now we talk about all these new bands. And so it was cool to kind of, I think, make a category of like, well, what artists came on the scene this year and is blowing us away.
Yeah. And took off. Yep.
And so for us, we said the best new artist of 2024 was No Treaty.
And they are killing it.
So good.
I'm glad that like they gained the traction that they have right now, and like, you know, they're just like super outspoken, very Christian dudes. I got to meet the lead singer at Furnace Fest several times, and he's such a nice guy, and he's really honest, and he's earnest and a hard worker. Like, I mean, I think the whole band is like just good dudes. So I'm super excited to see what these guys do, and you know,
I think it's pretty interesting too that like we're going to talk about other categories as we get there, but every other category, No Treaty came up, right? Yeah. We thought about it like, man, they totally could fit here, they could fit here, they could fit here, because it's a amazing EP, and it was late too in the year, so it's like
November or something.
So good.
Yeah, so shout out to No Treaty with their new EP, Sound the Trumpet. You know, it came out not that long ago, and it's like super popular right now. Everyone I know in all those Facebook groups are like, "Oh, you want a new Christian metalcore band or whatever they are, hardcore-ish, metalcore-ish?" Like, they're always the one that people shout out. So
it's so good, and it's not just a cookie cutter copy of every band that's come out. They're very different, but also have that same, metalcore, hardcore feel that we love.
Yep. Yeah. So shout out to those guys. So up next is rising artist. What's the difference?
It's a great category. So we wanted to have a category for bands that we feel like are on this trajectory upwards, right? Like we asked ChatGPT, what would you call that category? And I think like it came up with like rising star.
Yeah.
Now I don't know if in our genre, in our niche of Christian metal, I don't know if you can say like star, but we're just gonna call this like the rising artist, right? These artists, or this artist
up
is
and coming?
on up and coming. Like they have music out. This isn't the best new artist. They have releases out, but every release is just getting better and better. And it's like they're about to blow up.
Yeah, we're ready for their next release. That kind of thing. Yeah,
absolutely. So with that in mind, our rising artist of 2024 is Unworthy.
Yeah, and these guys have a lot going on. So, they started off with just the two of them, and then now they have a full band. They've done a few live shows.
Yep.
And now the full band is working on an album together. And I mean, these guys got a lot going on, and I think they have good momentum. And so I'm pretty excited to see what the new sound can be with more than just two guys and having a full crew.
And it's one of those where it's like you listen to each release and it's like, dude, this is getting really good. The start of the DIY, we heard it and we're like, man, Unworthy, that's cool. But now like the latest release, it's like, dude. Then they covered the For Today song, Isaiah the Willing.
Yeah, and that worked. Oh man, so many people like that. Like
right.
that did so well. Yeah.
And so it's just this like the next release is going to be huge. I can feel it, man.
Yeah, did you see Maddie from For Today responded to that?
Loved it.
He loved it, yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah. So I think they, for sure in the genre, like, are moving. They're moving and doing things, and it's just exciting to see.
Yeah. Yeah, can't wait to see what else they come up with. So, next category. An interesting category. I called the category Back from the Dead.
Yeah, which sounds very metal. A great category. Didn't know what to call this one either.
Yeah.
But this is basically a band that's got back together and is performing, has released something
whether there was
new.
like a hiatus or a disband, whatever.
Right, they had to either break up or be on hiatus. And so we've seen, I think it's been a trend these last few years of these bands coming back together. Yeah. And performing at big festivals or releasing new music or both. Mm-hmm. And it's been really cool to see. In an age of music where you can produce things yourself and release things yourself, I feel like we're seeing more of these.
Yeah, it's getting easier to do that. A lot of bands, the issue is they have lives. And
right.
They move away and they're so far from each other. And it's like, you really want me to meet up for 5 weeks in a studio and record something in a different city? Like when you're 20, sure, let's do it. But as adults with families, it's really hard. So
right, and they can't tour. They can't do that. And so it's like, hey, let's play a couple festivals. Let's release this music that we can online, do ourselves. And it's awesome because we get new stuff.
Yep.
So for our Back from the Dead band of 2024.
Yeah.
Haste the Day.
So, I mean, these guys are so back from the dead that they released a brand new single. So that's amazing in itself. They remixed their Coward album and re-released it. And it sounds so much better. It sounds so good. Like, my biggest complaint with that album has always been the production.
Yes.
Other people have talked through like, what? That's the best production. And I'm like, I can't be your friend anymore. But the other thing is, they've been doing live shows for like 2 years. And so it's kind of like, well, is it like Close Your Eyes where like they're back, but they're just doing a couple of festivals and that's it? But these guys, they're releasing their stuff again on vinyl, like their older albums.
Yeah.
Now they have a new single out, probably more coming. I mean, I'd say they're back,
Back, and this song, Burn, it feels like a Haste the Day song, which I just love, man. It's just like it brings you back to 2010 or 2007.
Yeah. I like the clean
great.
vocals in it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it just reminds me of, like, I don't know. Like, they didn't stop.
Exactly.
You know?
And we're only a couple years removed from Stephen Keach saying, I don't even know if I can do this anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so that's the cool part. And, like, it just makes me feel good when bands, especially Haste the Day band we love, come back and they say, okay, here's some fan service, or we still have some stuff we want to say.
Yeah, and I mean, I know a lot of people, the younger crowd, they're just like, Burn, that song, it just sounds like metalcore. Like, it just sounds like, you know, yeah, sure, it is middle of the road, but to us, it's like, dude, this is nostalgia. Like, Haste the Day is back and playing a song that sounds like Haste the Day. Like, what more could I ask for? Like, this sounds like, I love it. So.
Yeah. Awesome category, awesome award. I'm glad we did it.
Yep. So, next category. Ready for this one? We only have like a few left, dude.
Let's go.
So, third from the last, I'll say. So, this is the single of the year. One song. Single of the year.
So this one's hard. I think this was probably the hardest to do.
Yeah, we narrowed it down to like 2 or 3, and then we're like, well, what about this part? Well, what about this part?
Yeah. Because when you're talking about just a song, an album at least, like, you have the whole picture, right?
Right.
Like, there's a whole picture. Songs just like one. But there were so many songs that I feel like we were like, oh my gosh.
Well, yeah, go to our playlist, right? From our Core Values episodes where we just put all those singles on that playlist. Like, from this year, there's 100, 200 songs, 180. And it's like, all right, pick the best one from this playlist. Ugh.
Good luck.
Don't make me do that.
Yeah, and so there were so many, you know, and I feel like the reason why we chose what we chose was because of the continued playability, right? It continues to be a song that doesn't get old. It continues to be a song that we love and still put in our rotation. And so for us, the single of the year of 2024 goes to Cultist for the song Pray For Me.
And we got to see them do this live.
That's right.
That was really cool. Yeah,
this song... Oh, go for it.
This song's like... I don't know, like when you were picking the song and I started playing it, I was like... It got like halfway through and I'm like, dude, this still hits hard. I mean, it hasn't been out that long, right? Maybe 3 months or so. But, I mean, so heavy, the bass tone. I don't know. I think I'm going to play this song for a long time.
I think that, and that's why it definitely fits this award. Awesome, heavy, brutal Christian deathcore, like, or whatever you want to call it. Like,
well, yeah, and like lyrically, you know, there's a season in people's lives where they feel this, like, this separation from God. They feel like they've been left behind, you know, and they're like, I need you to pray for me, you know, and I think that's just such a relatable thing, and the aggression with it is kind of like, it just like compounds on that emotion of like, I'm frustrated with my life. I'm frustrated with what I'm going through. And so, you know, lyrically, I just think it's like, it hits with what he's trying to do and with the music. And so, I don't know, like, I love this song. It's such a good song.
Me too. And at the end of the day, we listened to it and we were like, this is it, man. This song is the song. And so, absolutely love Cultist. Can't wait to see what they do. I think they, a couple years ago, last year, whatever, they're a rising star. They're, you know, they were these are, you know, those categories before, and they're kind of moving up. So it's awesome.
Yep. Yeah, they're kind of, you know, they kind of started the same, like, Unworthy kind of is doing the same as them, whereas like one guy, then he gets a band, and they're doing live shows, then they got a record deal, that, you know, so just a few years removed.
That's right.
But yeah, awesome work, Cultist. We love it. The next category, a very hard category, the EP of the year. So I mean, EP is what, 7 or less?
Is that technically what an EP is? I
don't know. Like, I feel like that's kind of the, you know.
I just click in Spotify EPs and singles, and okay, it's an EP. It's not an album.
Yeah. What do they label it as?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of the music that we listen to is released as EPs. Like,
it's
now,
true.
It just seems
nowadays, like there's a lot. Yeah.
We're getting EPs after EP, and so it's good because it's really, you can consume it, right? If you have 5 songs or 4 songs or whatever it is, right? It's easy to consume, get through the whole thing. Or sometimes albums, if there's 12 songs, it's easy to skip over for some people.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. There's something to that too, right? There's like, nowadays it's all about staying relevant, especially on social media and stuff. Like, you don't want your band to be forgotten. And like, if you do, like, if you're a new band and you release a full length, I mean, what else are you going to do for the next 2 years to try to keep people's interest in you? Whereas, like, if you're a band that's been around, I'll pick Demon Hunter as a random choice. Every 2 years is fine for an album because you got 100,000 people who are waiting for that. Yeah. And they're like, they don't care how long it takes, right? So nowadays, it's like the way is to do it is to, like, release it in smaller chunks, like release an EP a year, like release singles throughout the year, like build up, you know? So I don't know. That's kind of the way things are going. I think that's the way things will be. I'm going to be sad the day when albums don't exist anymore.
Do you think that's the way it's going?
Maybe.
It's so hard because I would be on the train of people that say, give me an EP every year, right? But I think there's still something to be said for like a piece of artwork.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like an album that has like from track 1 to track 12 that tells a story that has all this themes, you know, like there's something to be said for that.
Oh yeah.
So I do love when bands release like full lengths, but EPs are such a great way right now to continually expose your music to your fans.
For new artists, it's a great way to grow. Yep.
And so for us, the EP of the year goes to Bloodlines and their EP Holiness Cries.
Ooh. Yeah, this was a tough one to pick, and you know, I'm good with our choice. I like that we picked this. Bloodlines has been one of our favorites for a long time.
Yeah.
They released an EP last year or 2 years ago. You know, released another. It was 2 years ago.
2 years, yeah.
Released another EP, and like every song is so good, and they got some attention too, like in the public, right? Yeah. The secular world. They were mocked for the song "Holiness Cries" about speaking up against pornography,
right?
You know, and it's cool that they got some traction that way, positive or negative, whatever you want to say. Yeah.
The thing I love about Bloodlines is that what we get, like what we got with Havel and what we get now with Holiness Cries, is like not holding back Christian metalcore.
Yeah.
Right? And it's heavy, it's beautiful, and you know lyrically it's going to be packed with awesome stuff.
Yeah.
And so this EP for sure has that exactly.
Yep. The production quality is really good too. Like they got a lot of like, I don't know, electronic sounds in it. There's a lot more cleans in it. I've seen people complain, like, man, they used to be almost deathcore. But I don't know. I like the catchiness of it. I like that it's, I don't know, a very good singing voice, and then you just get these parts that just get really heavy, you know. Yeah. And my wife loves Bloodlines. You know, there's not very many bands that I listen to that she's just like, yes, but Bloodlines, big fan. Like if they ever came to town, my wife would be going with me.
That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like there's that in between with them because they do have really good clean singing, right? Mm-hmm. And there's times where they get absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
But I'm excited. Like you said, like they're moving up. They've released a couple EPs. They have hundreds of thousands of plays on their songs.
Yeah, nuts.
Which is great for our genre, and it just seems like it's continually getting more attention. So, love it. And well deserving of EP of the year.
Yep. So that leads us to our last category. The album of the year, 2024.
Yeah.
What do you think? How do you feel about this?
It was hard. There were a lot of, you know, even going to EPs, like there were a lot of EPs and albums that I feel like we love this year.
Yep.
That were in the running.
Yeah, there's a lot. So I wrote down a quick list of them. Not in the order they came out and not in the order that we would have picked them. So this is random. I just scrolled through a playlist of mine and found them. So Project 86, right? They released their Omni Part 2, their final, air quotes, final album.
Yeah.
Which is super good. And it's unfortunate it came out like the first week of January, because it's 12 months old now. And so,
but it's heavy, dude.
It's cool. Heavy. It's, cool. It's really good. Like it's not what you'd expect from Project 86. POD released an album. They've been around the block. They're pretty big. But Veritas came out and they have like 3 songs that I just love.
Yeah.
And they have millions of plays on it's crazy how like their previous albums haven't gained any traction, but this one, like, they got some hits.
Yeah.
Meadows, one of our favorite bands, Familiar with Pain. Such a good album. That is art. That is, tells a story from beginning to end. Like, that's something you want to have on your wall. So beautiful. Good. Beautiful. Yeah, Descriptor, the band kind of close to us, across the state from us.
Yeah.
What are they? Rock, post-rock. I don't know. They got some heavy parts, but they're like this ambient rock. Worship. Very good. Just 2-man band. Rakak. We talked about them. They on our core values, and like they released an EP, and it's phenomenal. Unexpected. Where did they come from? So good. That's like a Thal album, if you know that genre. The Forerunner. They had an EP, The Beginning of Sorrows. It's literally worship. Hardcore.
So good.
It's so good. It's totally worth checking out. Most of that band is in another band called Take.
Yeah.
And they had a full length come out called Time Bomb. We did a little special feature on it on one of our episodes. Like, really good hardcore band. Like,
yes.
Great
heavy,
tunes.
awesome hardcore.
Yeah. Open Wound, new-ish band. They had that album or EP. What is it, like 7 songs? So whatever. The Middle Road. By the Sword. They're like a beat-down hardcore band. Impressive. Loved hearing their stuff. The Tarnished, another hardcore band. Their EP, Self Decay. Like, that's a band that does, like, they got an album coming out like next year, and I'm super stoked for that. Like, we got to hear some. I mean, they got stuff coming. And last is My Epic, probably the lightest of the bunch. What are they? Rock, post-hardcore, ambient, alternative.
There's definitely some building heavy parts, but
But I mean, so they had a full length come out, L'Oreella, which was really good. Mm-hmm. And so, like, picking the album of the year, and these are all things that obviously we didn't mention in any of the other awards. All the other ones we've mentioned, like, they're on this list. They're really good, right?
Yeah, and there's just so much, and we actually didn't even bring up a lot of awesome stuff too.
Yeah. Sorry, I was getting tired. What is that, like 10 bands I just listed? Like,
yeah, and so there's so many great releases. I love how many different bands we feel like are doing Christian metal, are in our scene.
Yeah.
We get to talk about them every time we release an episode, and so just giving like any recognition to these guys that are doing these awesome things, I think is great.
Yeah.
And this award for Album of the Year, the big one, that was hard. Really, really hard to decide.
It was. So this year, the Album of the Year, 2024, that we chose was Convictions, The Fear of God.
We got so many singles that were going to be put on this album.
Yeah.
It was like single after single. And every single that was released was like, this is a banger. This is a banger.
Yeah.
There's no way that the album can be this good. And it was. It was so good. And it's like, I love Convictions. You love Convictions. And all their releases before we've loved. But this, to me, is, I think, their best release.
I think I agree. I think this is their best work they've ever done.
Sleeping Lotus has continued to be in my rotation since it was released, like, I don't even know, like, 6 months ago?
Yeah.
More, maybe. And, like, and then, Coastal Glow and all these other songs, The Fear of God is heavy and brutal. And so it continues, man. I think that's what made this album for me. I went back and said, oh, man, that song I still listen to, that song I still listen to, that song I still listen to.
Yep.
And it's amazing.
Yep. I mean, so my Spotify Wrapped or whatever, like my top song was Sleeping Lotus. And like I looked at it, I played it 54 times this year.
That's awesome.
Like, that's crazy. But why? Like, and then I press play. I'm like, oh yeah, I love this song. Like, and I like the imagery of it and all that. But so many songs on this album. Like, they have some that are just so heavy. I don't think there's any clean singing. Like, you know, The Fear of God and Four Horses.
Yeah.
But then they have songs that are just so catchy and like just really stick with you. But like songs like Hurts Like Hell, that's the song about his dad dying, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
The drummer's dad, like from his heart failure and stuff. Like, I don't know, like you can just feel how sad he is, and I just think they did a great job. I mean, all around, lyrically, like every song has a story to tell. Production wise, I just feel like this is some high quality content.
Very
like,
high quality.
Yeah, like the drums sound great. I love the guitar. I love the mix with the vocals. You know, they got deeper growls, high growls. You know, the wailing singing, like just super high pitched. It's like, geez, I can't sing along with this.
Right.
But I don't know. It just sounds really good, and they have a lot of they have enough electronic parts in there. Like you know when you watch them live, it's going to be a track or whatever. But
yeah,
man, they just add so much flavor to each song, and like I don't know, I was just impressed. I think this is the best representation of Christian metal this year. Like, it might not be like my album of the year or yours, because we kind of argued about like, well, what about this, and we just kind of said like, this is the album that like is like, it's the album of the year. Like, you think of 2024, what's the best thing that came out? And I try to think of the most high quality, well produced, not overproduced, and I just think they nailed it. So great job, Convictions. Like, I love it.
We even asked our Discord server their album of the year, and they chose The Fear of God by Conviction. So
yeah, so we have like a channel where you get to like post what you think the album of the year is, and then people vote on it. And we have a bot that makes sure you can't cheat. But yeah, and so I mean, it got the most votes. I mean, everyone on our Discord, I don't want to say everyone, a lot of people on our Discord server thought this also won album of the year. I mean, that was the category. Discord's, what they picked. But
well, I love too that it was like we made this decision before we knew the results of the Discord. So it just was like it fit, and like you said, we just knew this was the representation what the album of the year should be. I love when I look back, there are bands, in my opinion, you look at like an August Burns Red, love everything they've done. Like even new stuff's been great. But you go back and you say, man, Constellations, Messengers, that was the era.
Right.
But like I feel like Convictions is different. Like they found who they are, they've continued to grow, and like this is just so good. Such a good album.
Yep. So I guess that's our award show.
Yeah. And hopefully you guys liked it, and I can't wait to have these graphics out and people be like sharing our thoughts of who won awards. Like, it could be it's gonna be a cool deal. I'm just really excited.
Who thinks we're right? Who thinks we're wrong?
There's going to be people that think we're wrong. I will say, this is a little stat correction for the end. You didn't mean to say it like this, but you said, oh yeah, POD's new album, got some traction, like 8 million people played it. Unlike, some of their older stuff. And I just wanted to like stop you and be like, bro, Satellite might be the biggest Christian metal album ever.
Yeah, but there's been like 5 albums.
I know what you meant. I'm just saying stat correction, just in case people come for you,
Bring them. Come at me.
They don't know that you're an OG, so.
Yeah, I don't mind. Let's fight.
Well, I hope people enjoyed this. I love that we get to talk about new music so often, and so why not have a award show for this new music that we get to talk about, and let's make this a tradition.
Yeah. So thanks everyone for listening to us. I mean, I hope you all had a great year. 2024 is over. By the time this episode's out, it'll be a whole new year, 2025.
Let's go.
And we look forward to what we're going to do this year, because we don't really know. We just kind of wing it all the time and do whatever feels good. And if you like what we're doing, support us. Become a patron. Buy us a cup of coffee on there. We have a Discord server where we just goof around all day. Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. But what would be really helpful is if you follow us on whatever you're listening to us on.
Yes.
Leave comments on episodes and tell your friends. And tell people that we exist.
That would be great.
So yeah, I guess that's it. Everyone have a great new year, 2025. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Thank you for listening.